car order. It's always been car order.
I strongly disagree.
That's the way it is. Ripped him out through the window in a nice way.
Just so I can go down and drink a carton while everyone punches on.
Just hisses me to tears. That's the worst thing you can do.
You shut up, you hack. Talking about boat ramps, this is what I wanted to get through from the start. What he said.
Oh, you just been an idiot.
And welcome to the Chumming Up Podcast, the fishing, spearfishing and ocean adventure podcast that's like a feminist in the woods, because we choose the bear. I am Squirly, and with me today is Tommy Doyle, and we're on the black bear.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, the black bear. We're on her today.
Yeah, tell us about her. We're in Hillary's, by the way.
Yeah, we're in Hillary's. We're on the bear. So, gee, where do I start? Me and my mate Brad bought the bear together back in 2023, I think. It was over in Sydney. We're actually standing just over there on that jetty and, you know, spitballing about both getting a new boat. And then we're like, why don't we buy a big one together? And we're like, fuck yeah, all right. And then we started Googling and then, yeah, found this in Sydney and he flew over and had a look at it. I didn't. And, yeah, we just bought her.
Yeah.
And
how big is she? What is she?
30 foot. So, yeah, the numbers, she's a 30-foot black watch. I think it's a 2000 model. It's got twin Yanmar 315 shaft drives in it. So it's a bit of a weapon. I don't think they made many with the 30-foot and the twin shaft drives, and then not many with this horsepower output. So, yeah, she drives like a bit of a bobcat.
Yep.
Which is wicked. Like, loves going backwards. Took the Marlin board off the back and... yeah, just sort of hooned around the river a bit when we first got it and did a bit of fine-tuning. We put these obnoxious riggers on it. I don't know how big they are, but I think it's a 30-foot boat and they're probably 35-foot rups on it. So, yeah, you definitely get out to the clean water with the lures, which is pretty cool. But, yeah, bought her over in Sydney, trucked it over, and it bloody broke down the trailer on the side of the Nullarbor. That was pretty stressful.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
How much did it cost you to... Would you go with the Dodgy Brothers or something?
Nah, oh man, the transport companies for transporting boats interstate is a nightmare. But we paid more because we thought the other ones were dodgy. And then, yeah, this one was like, I think it was 18, 20 grand.
Oof.
And yeah, he had a single axle trailer that wasn't rated, and then it had a blowout, it had a flat, and it only had one axle. So they had to leave the boat on the side of the Nullarbor.
Oh, fuck.
And then run back to Cal and get a tyre. So, yeah, that was pretty stressful being here in Perth, and you're like, fuck, a new boat, and yeah. But yeah, so, yeah, she's a bit of a weapon. We did a heap of work on it when we first got it, like all the mechanical maintenance and that sort of stuff. I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, so...
That's handy.
Yeah.
Very handy.
Yeah, we got it and then did like all the coolers, rebuilt the gearbox, just went nuts. New turbos, injectors, all the good stuff. And then it was a bit of a stretch target, but we took it up to the WA Open, not last year, but the year before.
That's in Jurien?
Yeah, in Jurien. And yeah, it was pretty sick. Like, that was its first sort of run. We took it for a run out of Perth and then shot up to Jurien, went and pre-fished for the WA Open and raised, I think, 3 blues in the day and got tagged one and also fought another one for about an hour and dropped it. And, yeah, so we're going into that comp feeling pretty good about ourselves.
Yeah, as you do.
And then, yeah, the first day, they had to cancel one of the days for the weather, and then the first day of the actual comp, about 9 a.m, we hooked on about a 500-600 pound model.
Oh, jeez.
Blue, and, yeah, in real nasty conditions, and then fought that for, it was a long time. We got the tag in real quick, but then we had to get a photo of the tag in the fish. And, yeah, so we fought it for like another 3 hours. Just a dogfight. And, like, Brad was new to game fishing at the time. And we had Dale Moyer, one of the old codgers from the club. Oh, I'll be in trouble for calling him old now. But, yeah, you know, he all 70 kilo of him, and he's trying to lead this thing. And, yeah.
Yep, all for the photo.
Yeah, just for the photo, which is, you know, a rule's a rule, I guess. But it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, though. I mean, how far do you go to stop people cheating in the end? Because, I mean, really, you can still cheat.
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and you had to get the photo, and yeah, it was another 3 hours, and that was killing me, because at the time, Chris Tandy hooked one.
Yep.
And then I think he hooked one, dropped one, and then hooked another one, Well, he ended up getting 2 that day, and those were the... So he got 2 that day, we got 1, and yeah, that neither of us ended up getting a fish the next day. So then, we ended up coming runner-up, and he came first.
Oh, and time of photo? Or time of tag?
Oh, sorry, he got 2, and we got 1.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't remember the order that he got him, but it was all happening on the radio, and I remember being up on the bridge, and I'm like, get that fucking leader, like, hold on. I was ready to, like, run down and grab it myself. I'm like, just hold the fuck on.
Yeah.
Get him in. But yeah, it took a while, but yeah, that was wicked. That was a cool comp. And then, yeah, the next sort of bear adventure after that was we decided to take it up to heavy tackle.
Which is in Exmouth?
Yeah, which is probably my favourite comp because it's like, I don't know, like everyone from everywhere comes and it's fishing heavy tackle, minimum depth and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, chasing big fish. Big fishermen.
Not fucking around.
Yep.
And yeah, everyone from sort of across the state goes and has a crack at it. So yeah, we, me and Brad and 2 other mates, Luke from West Coast Fishing, we did the trip up the coast in the boat, and that was pretty wicked. So we went to, sort of steamed it to Shark Bay. So we got to Jurien by lunchtime on the first day, stayed at the first night in Jarrow. One of the boys, Womble, the fucking dickhead, we're pulled up at the jetty in Jurien, and he was standing on the esky trying to hold the boat for some reason. The boat was tied off, it wasn't going anywhere, and he's standing on the esky just holding the jetty while we're fueling up, and he slips. And he, like, rolls his ankle or hurts his foot or something. And we're like, you pissed idiot. Like, fuck off. And then he started complaining about his foot being really bad. And we're like, mate, you've got gout. Like, me and Brad get gout. And, like, yeah, bloody, I don't know what the stats are, but it's like 4 out of 10 women that have had gout and childbirth reckon it's, worse than childbirth.
Yeah.
And those numbers stack up.
I do know my dad's pulled that out on my mum before. I've heard that. Yeah. Like, fucking, this is worse than childbirth. So
yeah. So, yeah, we're like, mate, you just got gout. Have some of our medication. And he's like, no, it's not it. And then anyway, he couldn't really walk in Jarrow. And then the next day, we're sort of sooting to Shark Bay from Jarrow. And I was a bit nervous about it because that bit of coast from Kalbarri to Shark Bay is like one of the most remote bits of coast in Australia, really. Yeah,
and it's very different, the water along there too.
Yeah, well, there's the cliffs.
Yep.
And there's the water, and there's nowhere to run for cover. There's not even any roads. It's not like the Nullarbor even, there's... there's no roads
by
going
yourself.
There. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was, that's in the back of my mind doing the run up the coast, and the boys are like, "Oi, we got to go into Kalbarri. He thinks he's broken his freaking foot."
Yeah.
So we took him to hospital, and they're like, "Yeah, it's broken." And I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. So, medication won't work then.
Yeah. So we unloaded him, like we stuffed around at the hospital for ages, unloaded all his stuff. We got him a taxi to the pub, and then his wife was going to drive up and pick him up and take him home. And then I'm like, man, are you sure you want to go home? Because, like, you're going to go home, you're going to be sitting on the couch, and you're going to get in trouble from the wife. She's going to be sitting around doing nothing while she's doing everything. So you're going to get in trouble anyway. And you'll be watching videos of us catching all these fish, having the trip of a lifetime. And I'm like, man, if I was you, I'd rather, even with a broken leg, I'd rather sit on the couch and just watch the boys fishing and drink beer all day. Like, that sounds way better. He's like, no, I got to go. And we're like, all right, no worries. And then, so he gets to the pub and he gets a pint of beer, and we're a bit naughty. Like, the first time coming in to Shark Bay, I'd never done it before, and it's like a pretty gnarly entrance.
Yeah.
And, the first time I was, like, super slow and careful, and that second time I, like, went out on the plane doing 20 knots.
Yeah.
And then as we're sort of sooting north, opened up the throttles, and he rings on the phone. He's like, come get me. I'm like, are you kidding? He's like, nah, come get me. So we, like, full throttle. I didn't even bat the throttle off. Just turn around back in, and then full on the plane back through there, and everyone's like, what the hell? Like, this black watch coming in on, like, the 45-degree angle.
Yep.
And, sooted in, grabbed him, then shot back up to Shark Bay.
So he got his foot broken in the bear trap and still wanted to go back.
Yeah. So, but that was wicked. We travelled up the coast. We stayed in Shark Bay. Went into Denham, fueled up, fished, all around Dirk. The southern side of Dirk offshore was actually pretty quiet, but the north side and that Door and Hoare Island or whatever they're called off Carnarvon, they're pretty sick. Yeah, all that ground off there is just insane. Like, that's the best fishing I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty underrated.
oh,
To be honest with you, like, it doesn't get a mention a lot, but
yeah, no one talks about it, but like, there was this one spot where it's like, I haven't caught heaps of coral trout, so I'm not good at eyeballing them, but like, a decent sized coral trout, coronation trout, ranking. So we're talking like everything was like, 8 kilo and above. Like, and we were catching these baldies that were like, there must have been a whole school of them. They were just like horse baldies. Like, we had like 4 of them on the deck at once. And we're like, shit, we got to put these back. Like, and then in that same spot, we had these massive baldies, rankins, coronation trout, coral trout, and everything was like, for your average punter, like the fish of a lifetime, like they're all really good fish.
Yep.
And then that was just in one little patch, and we're like, oh, well, like, we got to leave this biting because, like,
yeah,
we can't really take any more. And like, what do? You just keep catching horses. Like,
yep,
you get bored of it.
Yeah, that's it.
And then, so then we went out wide and then chased goldies. We got quite a few goldies. We got everything but reds. Yep. I don't know what it was, but like, we couldn't get a red for the life of us. We got everything but, and really good size, and even monster rankins. But yeah, wicked fishing there. And yeah, we even did a bit of a cheeky night fish as well, which we shouldn't have. We had a few rums at the top of Dirk one night, and then decided to go for a fish because it was glassed off. And
yep,
I don't even know where we went that night. There's a lot of rum getting spilt from the bridge, and the next morning woke up, and then we're looking at our phones and seeing photos of fish. It's like, oh, gee, I didn't recall that. But yeah, it was an epic trip. And then shot into Carnarvon. That's pretty sketchy. I probably wouldn't leave a boat there for a long time, eh?
Nah. Yeah, she's the one place in Australia that still can't get gentrified, old Carnarvon.
Yeah, everyone keeps losing.
It should be the Byron Bay of WA, but any of the hippies would get bashed. So that's what's keeping them out.
Yeah, the cars would get burnt. Yeah. But yeah, not much to mention there. But yeah, just tripped up the coast, and then from Coral Bay, we did some GT fishing on the Ningaloo, and that was pretty cool. Some of the boys hadn't caught GTs before, and that was pretty funny. Like, old mate Womble hooked one, and it's like just fucking reefed him, mate. Yeah,
they're just all power.
Right? Oh, they're all power, and if you haven't got one before, you're like, oh, now I can catch a fish that big. And it's like, yeah, no, but not an angry one in like, a metre of water. Like, it's different.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's even like you get used to catching spangos, but then catching a spango like in a metre, that's a big horse, you realise how powerful they are. Yeah. And then the GT's like 10 times that. Yeah,
no, they're a brute. Yeah, did a bit of fishing when I was younger in Karratha for them. And, yeah, just you get them in open water, that's one fish. But, yeah, you get them in, like, the shallow reefs, and they're a beast.
Yep.
But, yeah, and then we sort of did blue fishing from Coral Bay up. And, yeah, Womble, that was pretty sick. Womble actually got his first blue with a broken foot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I'm barking at him like, wind.
Yeah.
Backing down,
duck,
giving him a shower, yeah.
Yeah.
But then after that, he's like, all right, fly me home. He's like, I'm cooked.
Yeah. Well, that's worth it anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that, yeah, like even the bottom fishing, yeah. I don't think he regrets staying.
Yeah. Was had his missus already left to pick him up though?
Oh, I think so.
Because that phone call would have been fucking difficult.
I think she got fairly stuffed around. It was less than impressive.
Imagine that.
Pack the bags. You coming to freaking Canart or where was it? Calbarry to get me, and then oh no, actually I just had a beer and I changed my mind.
Yeah, she's probably at like Yanchip by then.
Yeah.
Nah, turn around.
Yeah.
Couple bundies and I'm good.
Yeah. And then what else? Oh, then we fished the heavy tackle. And it was funny because we actually did pretty well in the lead up to the heavy tackle. And this has sort of been a pattern that happened on the weekend as well. But pre-fished really well. and then pretty much choked and didn't get a marlin the whole comp.
Yep.
And then, like, we were just fishing after lines in because we're like, oh, well, we'll just fish for a little bit, and then we hooked one that ended up dying that we ended up weighing, and I don't think Nagsy appreciated it. It's like, oh, we got a fish to weigh, and he's like, it's not in the comp, we just caught it anyway. He's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. He's stressing about all this other shit he's got to do for the presentation, and you're like, yeah, we'll do this too.
We just caught a fish that doesn't count, and we just want to waste your time, but yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a good bloke, Nagsy.
Yeah. Nah, it was good. And then, yeah, but we did get we got on a patch of yellowfin, so we took out the bit heaviest yellowfin prize there, which was pretty cool. Got something at least. But yeah, so that's sort of the bloody black bear adventures. And then after that, we left it up there for the month of December and fished a little bit over Christmas and that, and got a few more blues, which was wicked. And the Sendon Bend boys come out for a day's fishing with us as well. That was pretty fun, like having the, a whole group of us on the boat and freaking having a good time. And yeah, we got a few fish too, which was good. And then, yeah, bit of an epic mission getting the boat home, like, being about 7 or 8 ton of boat, it doesn't back on or your normal savage friggin' Dumbier trailer very well.
Yep.
So, yeah, ended up and didn't want to drive back that time of year into a southwesterly. So
not fun. Done that a couple of times. Not even fun on a 60-footer, let alone a 30-footer.
Nah, it wasn't happening. So I ended up borrowing a truck off a mate. He's Mark Jamison. He's got a boat that he used for towing one of his tenders, and he had a Mac, so called Sea Dog, which was pretty cool. So that was pretty cool, rolling down the highway with this on a low loader and behind a Mac called Sea Dog.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, that was a good little mission, trucking it down the coast. And then, had her in Perth for a little bit now, and plan is to take it back up to we just fished the Marlin Cup gone this weekend.
Yep.
So that was a pretty wicked comp.
Yeah, there was a lot of excitement down in Perth because there's obviously been a lot more marlin, especially this year, being tagged and seen. And
yeah. Yeah, we had the Prezzo last night for that, and the numbers are just insane. Like 66 fish raised, 39 hooked, and 13 tagged.
Yeah, 40 boats in the comp?
Yeah, roughly. I think it got to 44 in the end, which is just insane. Like, that's the biggest one ever we've had.
Yep.
But yeah, those numbers, it was funny. Like, I think one boat might have raised 8 fish and tagged 0. Like, it was.
Yeah, right.
But
that hurts.
Yeah. But, I mean, we raised 0 and tagged 0, so
yeah,
that also
100%.
hurts. But, yeah, it was interesting because, like, I'm sure, like, a lot of people actually weren't expecting to, like, raise a bunch of blues in Perth. Like, as much as, like, if you go to Exmouth, you're like, all right, it's on, it's going to happen.
Yep.
Whereas I feel like even though everyone's like, oh, we're going to enter and there's been some fish caught, I don't think people expected there to be that many fish.
Yep.
And, yeah, there was, all different stories of some chaos that went on. And yeah, but there's a huge amount of fish. And the water temps out there, like, we were getting 26.3, which for Perth is just, like, most years 24 is the best you get. Like, you get 24 off Jurien, and that's good water.
Yep.
And, you get blues in 21 degrees off here. But, yeah, to see 26, like, the current pushing down was huge. And then there was this wicked big eddy just like smack bang on top of the trench. So yeah, it was just like the perfect storm of everything going well for Perth marlin fishing.
Yep.
And yeah, there was a mix of blues, stripes and blacks.
Yep. Yeah.
So it was interesting though because the blues typically weren't as big as other years. It's a bit slower, but the fish that seem to get raised are pretty big.
Yep. Whereas,
yeah, it was just bulk numbers this year.
Yeah. That was sort of one of the questions because myself and Leywald have been talking about this comp because I think the team that won caught one marlin, but on light gear, is that?
Yeah, so that's that Blackwatch just next to us.
Yep.
So that's game time. So Gabriel got 1 and it was on 15.
Yeah.
So 1 blue on 15, which is like 2,200 points compared to a blue on 60 is like 550 points.
Yep.
So, yeah, even if you caught a couple on 60, you still would get beat by 1 on 15.
Yeah, do you think that'll stay the same? Because we were sort of thinking with that, like obviously the comp looking to build into the future, surely you'd want one more fish caught, and two, the chance of, like, normally, or the talk is, eventually that someone will hook a 1,000-pounder or a very big one here. So surely you'd want people fishing heavier equipment to catch that one rather than miss it.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a digressing a bit here, but I'm planning the WA Open for this year because I'm running that as well through the Perth Game Fishing Club, and yeah, we're going to do a billfish shootout section, which is going to be purely based on the number of fish caught. So disincentivizing the line class, because our normal rules sort of cover off the normal tournament where, you know, you can fight it out for points. But if you want to win the shootout, you just got to get the most marlin.
Yep.
So then that's kind of, because, yeah, a lot of the crews down here, we all run 60 for that reason.
Yep.
And then, yeah, like when I heard that 15 radio through, like I'm sure it's probably a strategic thing because he caught it late in the comp.
It's very smart.
Yeah, he's like, all right, we want to try, how are we going to win this?
Yep.
Fish light. But yeah, so many, like even the WA Open in previous years, that year we fished on the Black Bear, the second day after me and Tance raised a few fish on the first day, everyone went from doing fishing species to fishing out wide at the fads. And yeah, there was like double digits fish raised and hooked, and like zero landed.
Yeah.
Because I think for that reason, like people are playing around with 24 and stuff, and and just not ready for it, you know.
Yeah. Well,
not the experience driving the boat. Like,
well, that's the added part as well, because obviously, you know, you go to somewhere like Exmouth, just by being in that place, the people fishing there have caught a lot of marlin, so they've already got that. Whereas here, you've got people that may never have hooked a marlin. If they have, it's, you know, not that many. Yeah, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Because to promote it for the next time it happens, you just want more marlin caught, really.
Yeah, that's it. And like you see it in the numbers too, 66 down to 13. Like there's not, or the 39 hooked and 13 getting tagged. There's not a very good conversion there.
Yep.
And yeah, game time, experienced boat or experienced skipper, and a boat that can back down and chase it, that's set up for it. Like,
yep.
You know, it's it can be done with the right crew and the right boat, and it is strategic. But yeah, definitely as a whole, you kind of want to incentivize more fish.
Yeah, well, I think GameX has done the same thing for their upcoming tournament as well. They've changed that line class points.
Oh, yeah.
As
So
well.
what have they done?
I think, 15 isn't worth more anymore.
Oh, really?
So,
for like champion billfish?
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I'd talk to Leewald about it, but yeah, from what I've seen, that was it. I'm not sure what they're doing with fish in the Gulf, because obviously that was scored differently, because you can just go in the Gulf and catch those little salies flat out. So I think you might still have to stay below that line class. But yeah, I know there were boats that were using 15 for that reason in previous years, but yeah, like the same thing is just as a club, it's probably just better that everyone has that chance, one, to catch the big fish if you get it, and two, for people to be catching more fish.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I like about the heavy tackle too. Like, that's always been one of the things that I've thought is pretty cool about the heavy tackle is, it's like minimum 300, and you're fishing 37 plus. Like, I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is for, like, GameX, obviously, they've got your capture with line class for all the other species anyway. So if you want to fish that as the skill section, you can. And then the marlin, you catch a lot. But yeah, the heavy tackle is good for its simplicity. You're out there to catch big fish and as many as you can.
Yeah, that's it. Eh? Well, no, it'll be interesting. Like, it's I'm keen to see what they've done with GameX, and Chris Tandy, who you've talked to before, and Scotty Turrell are the tournament directors for the Marlin Cup this year, and they'll be doing it again next year.
Yep.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, yeah, they're big numbers, and, yeah, definitely if we can convert it. And as you were saying, like, there's got to be granders out there. Like,
Yeah. Well, they've washed up
yeah,
south of here, you know, so...
they got to be there. And like, so I came from... I grew up in Melbourne and then moved to the Pilbara when I was like 22, and then fished up in the Pilbara heaps, and then moved down to Perth in like 2015, I think. And I joined the Perth Game Fishing Club, and I've pretty much been on the committee ever since. And it blew my mind coming from over east. I'm like, why is like it's not very active down here, and not many boats are actually out chasing marlin? Like if you're in Sydney or anywhere on the south coast, like, it's fucking game fishing heaven over there, you know, like everyone's into it. And then here, like, you know, boats go out sporadically. No one's going out hitting it consistently. So there can be a bite or a hot patch somewhere, and it'll come and go, and no one will know because the boats aren't out there.
Yep.
And I think that's what's been good in the last couple of years is, like, we got a fair bit of energy going through the club and crews that fish hard and that have fished up and down the coast, and, you know, they come back here and then, you know, fishing hard in the local waters, and we're starting to sort of crack the code, like Sendinben getting those swords and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
a lot more sword activity.
Yeah, there's the sword activity, there's the Blue Marlin fishery in Perth, and then you even got, like, you know, yesterday I went for a bit of a cheeky troll inshore looking for a black.
Yep.
On light tackle, because as we were sort of talking about, the other week there was one caught in 30 metres north of Rotto.
Yep.
And the guys were just bloody tuna fishing. And then, there was a free swimming one.
Yeah, we got sent the video from Ant, who used to fish with a few of our mates, filming one in 7 metres at the back of Garden Island.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, like, Jazz Charters, I remember a few years back, they got one snapper fishing south of Rotto, because you get, like, these south of Rotto and Parkers and that, there's almost all year round you have these bait schools there.
Yep.
That almost like top to bottom of the sounder. And, on those schools in past years gone by, there's been, like, I think one Marlin Cup or Fremantle Classic, one of the boats, Rock and Roll, I think, hooked one, and they fought a black on tuna on, like, a little, like, 4 kilo or something for, like, a couple of hours, because they were just fishing for, like, line class tuna.
Yeah, right.
And, they had a black come up and whack it. And then, there's Jazz Charters got one snapper fishing. And then I'm like, well, now we've got 25-degree water there. And, you know, they got to be there.
Yep.
And no one fishes for it, because it's just, like, it's crazy. There's this massive city, big population, and no one actually... And I guess with the demersal ban, maybe it's helping game fishing now, because people actually think outside the box, and they're like, oh, let's go chase kingies, or let's go and fish for marlin. Like,
yep.
Yeah, it's kind of good in that regard, that because everyone in WA used to have, like, you know, a razor line, and that was like the FIFO dream, you know, have a 200 series, a razor line, and go out and bang some dewies.
Yeah, dewies and snapper.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Whereas, there's, like, kingfish, like, there's really good king fishery here in Perth as well.
Yep.
That, like, not many people talk about or fish, but, like, Jazz Charters go out there and whack them every day of the week, just about.
Yep. And then you bycatch of a world record cobia.
Man, that's insane. Apparently, Bucks party. So apparently there was a stripper there to witness it as well.
Yeah, right. That is a good world record.
Yeah. Imagine that one going through the bloody old dudes in Florida being like, oh, yeah, there's... Okay.
Surely there's a photo with the stripper next to the fish.
Submit that one.
That one's got to go to the West Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just boys on a Bucks party, and caught that. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. That's a huge cobia. Like,
oh, it's monstrous.
You put a saddle on that and friggin' ride it around.
Yep.
Like, it was solid as. And I had people calling me. They're like, have you seen the cobia? I'm like, what are you on about? Like, we've been out marlin fishing. Like, what do you mean there's a cobia? And, I had a look. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. Like, when I was saying it, I was like, oh, what's going on here? There's got to be more to this. But, no, just fucking...
Yeah, just huge. Like, I didn't even... You rarely hear of them being down here.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen another one caught
Yeah, right.
in Perth. Like, yeah, it's, you know, in Karratha, they hang around the ships. You know, you rock up and you flick a soft placky in the back of the ships and you're almost guaranteed a cobia. But, yeah, down here it was a bit of a surprise. But, yeah.
Did you see that dolphin fish caught off Esperance Beach?
Oh, what?
Yeah. So that one was a good one. I'm like some people were talking it down. I've seen on a comment they were like, "Oh, dolphin fish are caught in all oceans all over the world." It's like, yeah, maybe, but they're not caught off the beach many places.
Yeah.
Let alone if I caught one off Esperance, I'd like off the beach, I'd be losing my shit.
Yeah, in the Southern Ocean, yeah. I mean, they do. I mean, you get them on the fads right through winter. It's funny because the fads come in the middle of winter for all the storms and that, so they don't wash away. But it's almost feels wrong because that's when you're getting these horse dolphin fish on them because they've sort of had time. They grow real fast and they've sort of consolidated and yeah, you get heaps of dolphin fish, but you just got to, like, even the other day, like, we went out there and threw out like a tailor as a live bait, one of the fads, and, you know, it's like a 40-centimetre tailor, and these dolphin fish are just coming up trying to eat the thing. I'm like, this is nuts. Like, and there was some big ones too, and one of them actually ate it. Like, but that's huge, like, for a 40-centimetre tailor to be getting smashed by a dolphin fish, because we're like, oh, we'll put something big out so they, you know, outsize them a bit. But nah.
Yeah, didn't give a shit.
Nah, they just smashed it, They're animals.
Yeah, but I don't even know anyone who's caught one off the beach, off like Exmouth or something. I've never heard of a dolphin fish. So
I've heard of it. I remember back in the day, I don't know if it's somewhere in South America, like Panama or something, there was somewhere where people were fly fishing for them off the beach.
yeah, I've seen like around near Mexico, places there, them catching them off the beach.
Yeah.
But yeah, if someone said, "Oh mate, I went fishing off Esperance, caught a dolphin fish off the beach," I'd be like, "Yeah, rightio, cop." Like I would not believe a fucking word.
Yeah.
But the video, it's not even like a small dolphin fish loss. It was like good size, and he puts it back.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I was like, what are you doing?
That's silly.
Yeah. Fuck that.
That's like they got the fastest growth rate of anything, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. They're like the chicken of the sea.
Yeah. It's like a full popular beach too. You can see there's all like swimmers in the background and shit. Like, what has happened here?
Wow.
I'd love to know if he like seen it first and cast something for it, or whether it's just jumped on his line. But
yeah. Oh, far out. There's so many weird things like that happening now. Or maybe it's just social media, but yeah, like those when we had the swordfish here, and then I think there was even one where black marlin was sighted by the surf lifesaving here in Scarborough as well.
yep.
And they're like, oh, yeah, there's a black. And everyone's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. Well, that is the hard part, because of social media, you don't know how many people you called a liar back in the day that were telling the truth.
Yeah.
And whether that's happening, or obviously like the sea temps are very different. Like you got like all this coral bleaching up north because it's so hot.
Yeah, because
like
it's
that.
legit they've declared it like a bloody marine heat wave or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, like, if this is global warming,
Yeah, well,
sign me up.
I was thinking the other day, because I was fishing in the Swan, and I was just like, if we start getting mangrove jack in, I'm not going to be that unhappy about it.
Yeah, if that's the worst that's going to happen is we get Blue Marlin, Barramundi in Perth. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to soot even more.
Yeah, my girlfriend's an environmental scientist, so she's obviously always talking about the bad things about global warming.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Let's
Jack's
talk about
in
the
Swan.
positives.
Look on the bright side a little bit.
It will be closer to the waterfront.
Yeah.
And we'll have Barramundi and Blue Marlin in Perth.
Oh, imagine Barramundi in the Swan. Barramundi and Jack's.
Oh, man, this would be like the best city in the world.
Yeah. Well, I think they already got coral crabs in there, which I never realised came so far down.
The crabs come down from Midland.
No, well, I've heard of mud crabs being fucking grabbed out of there. I haven't seen any photos, but
What's the go with coral crabs?
yeah. So the trawlers get a lot up north,
Yeah.
and I knew so we'd get them on and off when you're going for blues drop potting, but then probably the last 3 years. But similar thing. I don't know how long before that. You just say on all the Facebook pages, people asking what they are. And coral crabs through the
Are they good
Swan.
to eat?
Yeah, better than blue manners.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they're like a pinkish white colour with a black dot on them. But it's the same size as a blue manna, just a bit sweeter.
Yeah, I've never done much crabbing in Perth, or any, but when I lived in Headland and Karratha and that, man, I used to love getting mud crabs. It's so much fun just fanging around and digging and throwing pots out and drinking tins. And, yeah, definitely a bit of that in Perth would be good.
Yeah. Only add to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You were talking about is it the WA Marlin...
Oh, WA Open.
WA Open. So, yeah, the extra prize money and stuff like that, what's the...
Yeah, so I guess to mix it up, the idea that we're throwing around at the moment is to have like a billfish shootout over and above the standard comp. And the standard comp is like, it's one of the best species comps on the coast, because like last year 79 fish were weighed, and there was like numerous state records as well, like some really good, I think they were around 20 kilo kingfish that were caught as well.
Yep.
Went line class state records and all that sort of stuff, which is wicked. And then I think there was 6 blue marlin caught last year as well. But you look at it, and the way that comp is won is generally on species every year. Even if you catch marlin, you'll still get outdone on points with like mulloway and kingfish on light line class. So I wanted to not take away from the existing format and just add a second category in there to sort of incentivise and bring more boats to do the game fishing side as well. So yeah, I was looking at doing a billfish shootout and just having it as the number, it's champion boat only. So instead of having angler and all that, it's just champion boat and runner up, and it's just the most billfish tagged. So, line class, obviously everything has to be GFAA rules and everything, like right leader length, all that sort of stuff. But you can fish whatever line class you want. You're not going to be of a points advantage for that billfish shootout. And yeah, it's just incentivising people to pretty much fish heavy tackle and turn over fish as quickly as possible and catch as many as possible. And then, just looking to get it all approved in that. But we're going to do like a buy-in, have a name sponsor, and then have a buy-in per boat, and then have a cash kitty. So we've got to run that up the tree with the West Australian Game Fishing Association and make sure we can get it all approved. But if we can, that'd be pretty cool to have like just a real basic shootout.
Yep.
That's incentivising cash prizes and, just going out there and whacking some blues or blacks and stripes as well, which you get them all there. But yeah, the blue marlin fishery there is wicked. We've got fads out on that shelf. The shelf is only a 20-mile run. Like, other than Exmouth, it's probably one of the best spots on the west coast for the shelf coming in. It's like one of the better features there.
Yeah.
And then, we've got fads out, or Wreckfish West have got fads out there now. So, it's a perfect little recipe, like just fishing those fads the last couple of years. You're just sort of working east-west in and out from the fads, and like there's consistently blues out there, and even the local guys have since been going out a bit. The local tackle shop, I think the young fella there, he gets out a bit and has got a few. And for the effort that's put in off Durian, it's pretty well rewarded with billfish, and it's crazy to think that like how many people stood it up to Exmouth from Perth and drive past like amazing fishing.
Yep.
Especially like from now, this time of year on. Like if you look at the charts today off Durian, it's just like the water's incredible, and you always get nice little eddies in there, and it catches, and and I think like a lot of the pro boats go from Perth, shoot and fish that water up there as well, and they get even the tuna. One year, a little centre console a few years back, we got a 56 kilo yellowfin there as well.
Right.
Yeah, like there's it's just a wicked fishery.
Yep.
And even inshore, like 20 kilo kings, mulloway, like the wrecks have mulloway there as well, Spanish mackerel, And then you got, yellowfin, blue marlin, striped marlin, and black marlin offshore as well. Like, it's, what more do you want,
Yep.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like Perth, it's the same deal. Without boats out there fishing,
Yeah.
the fishery doesn't exist, and you just need to get more boats on the water, and hopefully doing these comps, and that creates the hype, and then gets more people out there fishing for the rest of the year, and then, Jurien Bay becomes a bit of a hotspot. Like, it's perfect. It's only, if you're in a big boat and you're doing 20 knots, you leave Perth in the morning, you're there by lunchtime.
Yep.
And then I've done a few trips up there, and you just sort of leave first thing in the morning from, Freo, and then you get to like the 300 metre mark off Lancelin, lines in, and then just zigzag north up to Jurien, and that's just an easy day's fishing, and then cruise into the Arvo. And every time I've done that, we've raised fish.
Yep.
Like, it's just, there's some really good fish in there. Like, the water is just that bit warmer than Perth.
Yep.
And just seems to, I don't know, in my experience, I've done a lot of fishing in Perth and haven't personally got a blue marlin here. But yeah, like, for the effort in Jurien, it's been rewarded every time,
Yep.
So yeah, it's a pretty cool fishery.
Yeah, right. So you were talking about you got asked permission for the prize money. Well,
yeah.
You were talking before about so there's a ruling.
I think so. I've got to double check with WAGFA, but I think in the Constitution or in the rules, there is a rule about a maximum of $5,000 cash prize for one category.
Yep.
So it's whether we have hit that maximum for this, and then it's other prizes in kind, which is normally what it is. It's like you might get $5,000 and a sounder.
Yep.
And a Tiagra and a this and that. But, the sad thing is, like, for Shimano and that, like, generally all these boats that are freaking winning these tournaments have the Tiagras coming out their ears anyway.
Yeah,
they don't need one more Tiagra, like, yeah, if you got a 50, like, yeah, like you always see 50s popping up on Marketplace real cheap because someone's won one and they're offloading their old one. And
yep.
Yeah, whereas the cash bit, I look at, like, you look at that tournament over in New Zealand. Did you see that one? That was like $1 million. It was like the Kubota Billfish Classic.
Yeah, right.
It was like $1 million prize, I'm pretty sure, or total prize pool. And then the first prize was like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
And yeah, there was like hundreds of boats fishing. It was like, yeah, it was pretty epic. Like, yeah, I'll have to look it up, but
yeah.
And
obviously you got like the Bisbees over in
they're
the US
massive.
and shit. So
and they run a structure. I've never fished it, so I don't know very well, but I'm pretty sure they have like a tiered buy-in structure. So if you win the comp, you don't necessarily win the most prize money. So it might be, it's like an option. You can buy into like packages, and if you're the top package, then it means that you can win the top prize money. So sometimes like the $2 million check goes to the boat that come third because the
first
boat
two didn't.
Yeah, they might not have opted in for the big prize buy-in.
Yep.
But they might have got the biggest fish.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's interesting, all the different... I'm keen to have a look into the New Zealand Kubota Classic or whatever it was
Yep.
that they ran last year, because that was huge. And, like, it's just cool seeing... Like, it creates that much hype, like, around the world and everything. And then, you have the shotgun starts, and it's just good for the industry when you get all these boats fishing. And then, yeah, for here, like, 44 boats on the water last weekend, like, it's unlocked the fishery a bit, and you get all this data coming back in of, like, we have all the quadrants, so everyone radios in the quadrants, so then you kind of work out where the bite's happening, and then people move to that bite, and then more fish are caught, and it's just a good thing.
Yep.
But yeah, there's one of the boats across from us here, there's a regulator with twin 300s on the back, center console, and those boys last weekend, it was epic. They were on the radio, and they radioed in that they'd hooked a blue, and they're like, yeah, blue hooked up, regulator, and we're like, yeah, cool. And then they radioed back, and they're like, drop the blue, and then as he's still on the radio holding the button down, he's like, oh, another blue, yeah, hooked up, on. And they had 3 freaking blue marlin in the spread at once, eh?
Yeah, right.
And they were like, and you could hear it on the radio. It's like live action, and they're like yelling and screaming. I'm like, man, that is sick. Like, I messaged them, like, you got to give me some videos and a story of that to put up on the club page, because, like, man, it was epic. But yeah, they had 3 like good blues up in the spread at once, and it's like this can't be Perth.
Yeah.
Like, 26-degree water and 3 blues in your spread. Like, yeah, it's hectic, eh?
Yeah, I know we had, like, because it's interesting because obviously there's all cycles and stuff like that. I know we had John Prince on our podcast earlier. I know Leewald's been talking to him because he fished this comp, or the comp that just went years and years ago, and was talking about getting massive numbers back then in one particular year.
Or here in Perth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I I actually dug out an old Marlin magazine from 1999, which is Marlin magazine was we used to have the Blue Water magazine in Australia, and then Marlin magazine was the US one.
Yep.
And they did an article in the US on Perth game fishing, and being like, they were talking about it like it's one of the best spots in the world.
Yep.
And the stats that were coming through from that 1999 season was just huge.
Yeah, that might have been the year he was talking about. I won't have a stab at what he told Leewald because I'll fuck it up, but we'll get him on one day and talk through it.
Yeah, I'll send you the bloody. I've got the screenshots from that from the article.
Yep.
Well, actually, no, here they are. So, yeah, the season of 1999, 50 Blue Marlin were tagged for the Perth Game Fishing Club. 86 stripes and 19 blacks.
Yeah, right.
So, and that's like, there's not a lot of boats there. And, yeah, here's a quote. Perth's Blue Marlin come in only one size, large, and it's relatively rare to catch them under 400 pounds. Most average between 400 and 500 pounds, while one Agnew's 703-pounder was the largest caught so far. There's been many bigger fish hooked and never landed.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, so they all used to fish baits back then too.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's just different. Like, and it makes me wonder, I'm like, obviously since then, lure fishing's taken right off. But, yeah, like they used to get a lot of fish back then on baits, and they were cutting them open and they had slimy mackerel in them.
Yep.
And that was interesting this year when we're out in like the 100 to 150 metre line last week, and there's bait stacked up, and I'm like, man, what is this? And we dropped the sabiki down, and slimy mackerel, like, 300 mil size slimy mackerel. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yep.
This is very cool. So I think the boys from Sendinben were talking about it. Pico and Anthony went out yesterday and actually went and worked that for a bit. They didn't come up with anything, but yeah, it's like, that's what we're sort of talking about. There's the Blue Marlin fishery out offshore, and then you've sort of got this sort of inshore. If that was East Coast, you'd expect that to be stacked with striped marlin.
Yep.
And there was some pretty cool sounder shots that the boys were showing me last night at the presentation that were like, yeah, there was some good fish on there. They just didn't catch them, but
yep.
Yeah, there's definitely some good marks around there. But like, that's probably what that 80-kilo cobia's eaten too.
Yeah, true.
Like, yeah. But yeah, I digressed. The WA Open, 12th of April, 3-day comp, which is good because everyone travels up there, and sort of we put some meals on and that as well, and it has the presentation up there. And yeah, last year we had a few Marlin Wade and the Dream Bay Cafe, and the whole town gets around it. It's wicked. Like down on the foreshore, we have the weigh-in, and there was like about 100 people come down from all around town, and everyone's watching it. And
yep.
Yeah, it's pretty cool and refreshing that like people are actually coming down to see a Marlin Wade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's
still that excitement.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool that like we're in a place now where people are growing up, and we're not sort of. There was a while back where like you hang a marlin and it's like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's a fish, it's a pelagic, it's a fast growing out in the ocean, like it's gonna die. And yeah, it's not the end of the world to weigh it. And,
yep.
And it's cool that people come down and see it and all that. Like, it's wicked.
Yeah, bloody oath.
And that I don't know, that for me, like, that's why I've sort of been involved in the club pretty heavily in that, because I'm like, I want to help out, and I want to sort of always, even I've got a little fella, a 2-year-old, and before I had him, it was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, I want to help sort of protect and develop the game fishing in WA, and especially in Perth, because, for a while there, it was like catching marlin was like, shooting white rhinos.
Yeah.
And you don't want it to become that. You want it to sort of I don't know. It's a balancing act. You got to sort of not be too bogan that it becomes a white rhino hunting thing, and involve the community. And that's pretty wicked. That's sort of what we're doing in Jurien Bay, and getting the whole town around, and even down here, like heaps of involvement, hanging the swordfish and that. Like, people come from everywhere for that because seeing a big fish hanging up is pretty cool. Yeah,
bloody oath. Even better when you get a bit of slab off it too.
Oh man. I couldn't, I hadn't had much swordfish. I remember some bloody flash restaurant in Chapel Street when I was younger going there and having swordfish. And then, when the boys got their ones, I had a few slabs and, man, it is so delicious. Like, I couldn't believe it, eh? It's like the Patagonian toothfish.
Yep.
You ever had that?
Nah.
Oh, man. Well, if you're bloody at Nobu or Rockpool anytime soon, bloody give it a whirl. But, that Patagonian toothfish is, like, delicious, and it's like this big, white, flaky flesh. And, the swordfish, it's like... And it's super deep sea from, like, somewhere between here and the Antarctic. They go out and get them, but...
Yeah, I know there was a boat that got confiscated up near Exmouth that was catching Patagonian toothfish. Well, it was dragged into... Exmouth because my boss went and pinched or bought a whole heap of shit from it, and somehow he got his hands on some Patagonian toothfish. But he reckoned it was shit.
Really?
But I don't know how it was. Like, it was
it's a long way from the
Indonesian boat.
Yeah,
like, so that they were like driving back. So I don't know how shit was stored or what the go was.
It would have been dodgy as. But I think the crew that fished for it out of Perth here have got it pretty dialed, and they sell it to like all the best restaurants and stuff. And I did a project in like year 11 at school in environmental science on it, and I remember there's something political about it where they found it recently, like in recent years, and then they almost drove it to extinction real quick, and then they had to like pull it back. And then when I seen it on the menu once, I'm like, I'm giving this a go.
Eh? Bloody oath. Oh, there you go. I'll have to give it a go then.
Yeah, man, definitely. But the swordfish too, that was like, right up there with it, eh? Really enjoyed it. Just butter in a pan and, so good.
Yep. Yeah, I don't mind marlin, so swordfish is good too.
Yeah,
but striped marlin's fucking unreal, so.
Yeah, well, one of the boys, when we were at the heavy tackle the other year, got a couple of little stripes, and we cooked them up at the house in Exmouth, and, man, they were delicious. Like, I did not expect that at all. Like, cooked it up with a bit of salt and pepper, and like we're probably a few rums deep by the time we're having this. But I'm like, man, it's like eating a Scotch fillet. Like, it was delicious, eh?
Yep.
And I think that smaller size is probably meant to be better too.
Yeah, that's it.
But and one of the boys, I think, Scotty gave me some. I think it was some Blue Marlin recently. That was pretty good too.
Yep.
But like all the ones that we're weighing and that we're making sure that they're getting harvested and everyone's getting a feed out of it, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah,
well, I know, like, Exmouth Game Fishing Comp was pretty conscious about anything extra that people didn't want, that it was getting shipped down here for homeless people's meals and shit like that.
Yeah,
obviously more for the capture side, but on all of that. So, I mean, that's the cool thing now. You've got all these opportunities where shit doesn't go to waste. If people aren't going to eat it themselves. Yeah,
I mean, logistically, that's pretty epic getting it down from Exmouth to down here.
Ship a shark mackerel for a homeless person. There you go, bud.
The fuck is this shit?
Yeah. The other bloke's got fucking swordfish. You got sharky. Mate, it was a line class record. Stop your fucking complaining.
I'm pretty sure all the yellowfin, all the good stuff would clear out pretty quick.
Yeah, bloody oath.
The people handing it out are like, we'll just hold on to this one.
Yeah, cool. So what are your plans for fishing? Is it just pre-fishing for the Jurien Comp now, or?
Yeah, so, I mean, I said to the wife the other day, I'm like, the fishing at the moment is that good. It's like, you think you do a holiday to Exmouth for a couple of weeks to go fish hard, and it's like the fishing here is like insane at the moment. And I'm like, I need to take 2 weeks off and just go fishing every day.
Yep.
And she's like, well, you're not doing that. But I think as a compromise, the Fremantle Sailing Club comp is coming up on the long weekend.
Yep.
So if I'm lucky, I might be able to sneak out there and fish that. and maybe even just watch the weather in between and do a bit of inshore fishing. And, you know, it's exciting with this black fishery, like, you know, or it could be a fishery. I mean, there's a few fish around, so it's like I spend a fair bit of time with my little fella just fishing for tuna, bluefin tuna when they do the run through here and that as well.
Yep.
And that sort of bait that they feed on is in all the same spots pretty much all year round. Like, sort of have bait in like the 20 to 30 metres off all the way from like Hillary's through to Scarborough and out to Freo. Out to Roddo. So that's like the northern sort of bait, and you see like the trawlers working it and that. And then you have that south side bait on the south side of Roddo as well in that sort of 20 to 30 metres. And then you have the bait that's like west of Roddo in that sort of 100 metre to 150 as well. So it's like there's a couple of different fisheries there, and I'm keen to sort of just get out and have a bit of a crack. And it's one of those ones, you're probably going to get nothing, but it's like if you whack one, if you whack two, you're sort of like, all right, you're onto something.
Yep.
And that excites me heaps of just going out there and catching nothing with the chance of cracking the code, you know? Like that's almost like being a gold miner or a prospector. You're like, oh, could be there.
Yep.
It's a gold rush. It's a marlin rush.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, bloody oath. That's cool. Anything else to add?
Nah, man. I'm a bit sore from yesterday still, from last night's presentation.
Yeah, big prezzo night.
Yeah. As I was saying, I took the boat down for the presentation night from Hillary's to the Fremantle Sailing Club, and then, had a bit of a fish and a couple of beers on the way down, then a few beers with everyone there because the spirits were pretty high, and then, bringing the boat back and decided it was pretty flat, so I pulled up out the front of Swanbourne and anchored up in 11 metres, and I was like, I'll just sleep here the night.
Yep.
And obviously the southwesterly came through, and that was really bad. That was a poor life decision.
Yeah.
I mean, the anchor held well, but I was nearly getting thrown out of bed.
Oh, yeah. She's been blowing for a while now, so it wouldn't have been too great.
So I think I might have to go to bed early tonight.
Yep. Nah, good call. I got a couple shows to get to, and I don't know, I might find my way to a pub before I get to that. That's about it.
Well, it sounds like a good idea.
All right, cool. Cheers for chumming up, Big Horse.
Cheers, mate.
Catches.
Oh my god. What the fuck is happening right now? Oh, this is the best album of all time.
I like going down the pond chasing bluegills, kamikais.